Dear viewers, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. This is the Saiful Islam, an assistant teacher of High School of Nogal District of Bangladesh, and you are most welcome in my Saiful English Academy. Again, dear learners, hope that you are very fine by the grace of Almighty Allah, and you are connected with me as well as watch my previous class smartly. And with the reference of my previous classes, today's class I have been present in front of you the environment new class named Rules of Versus Narration. Rules of versus narration. So, my dear learners, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, in my previous classes, you told about various kinds of rules of changing narration and changing versus narration. My dear learners, you told about various kinds of basic rules of changing narration and rules of changing narration of assertive sentence, rules of changing narration of interrogative sentence, rules of changing narration of imperative sentence, rules of changing narration of optative sentence, rules of changing narration of exclamatory sentence, as well as various kinds of rules of changing versus narration. Rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3, rule number 4, rule number 5, rule number 6, rule number 7, rule number 8, rule number 9, and with the reference of my previous classes have been present in front of you with the announcement nucleus named rules of versus narration, rule number 10 and rule number 11. So, my dear learners, now let's take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, the main precondition of rule number 10 is that, my dear learners, if any assertive sentence has question mark at last, you will have to follow the following note at the time of changing narration from direct to indirect. Okay, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand the note. My dear learners, the note is that at first you will have to use being surprised. Secondly, you will have to the notes of comma. Then rules of changing narration of and interrogative sentence. Okay, my dear, let's hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, the main precondition of rule number 2 is that if any assertive sentence has a question mark at last, you will have to follow the following the note at the time of changing narration from direct to indirect. The note is that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to use being surprised. Being surprised. Secondly, you'll have to use the notes of comma. Then you'll have two rules of changing narration of an interrogative sentence. Changing narration of an interrogative sentence. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. With the reference of this rule, I'm trying to show some example. So, my dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Raisha said to me, the boy got 40 lakh chaka in lottery. Question mark. Okay, Major, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. Major, let's at first try to comprehend what categories of sentence. Take a look at the board and try to understand. Major, let's this sentence is started with subject and according to the sequence of the sentence, of course, at assertive sentence. Because we know that according to the selection of a assertive sentence, if any sentence is started with subject, finally with the notes of full stop, of course, such kinds of sentence, of course, and assertive sentence. But instead of full stop, this sentence has the notes of question mark. The notes of question mark. So, my dear learners, try to follow this structure or not, my dear learners. At first, you will have to use being surprised. Being surprised, including comma. Then you'll have to follow the rules of changing narration of an interrogative sentence. The rules of changing narration of interrogative sentence is that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to use subject of reporting verb, right? Then you'll have to use asked instead of said to, then object, then you'll have to use conjunction if deleting comma inverted comma middle of the statement, then subject, here subject of repeated space, here subject the boy. Of course, you know that, my dear learners, according to the basic rules of narration, you were told in my previous classes, if subject of reparted space, the person, and its change according to not to subject and not to object. That means there is no any change of that person. So, in this case, you had better write the void. Next, verb. Look at the board and check for instance. This sentence has the verb of V2 form. And according to the basic rules of changing narration, if any sentence has a V2 form of verb, that must return had plus V3 form of verb. Get, got, gotten. Okay, major learners. Then extension 40 lakh chaka in lottery. Okay, learners, of the you have understood clearly. You have understood clearly. Um, Example number 2. Rohim said to me, William's father has died just now. Okay, Medina, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. According to the note of this structures of this rule, Medina notes at first we'll have to use being surprised. Being surprised, including comma, including comma. Then we'll have to use the rules of changing of narration of an interrogative sentence. The rules of changing of an interrogative sentence was that, my dear learners, at first we'll have to use subject of reporting verb, then asked instead of sideshow, then object, then conjunction if middle of the statement, deleting comma, inverted comma, then subject of reported space, here subject of reported space is William's father, then has must be changed into had, joyed, just, now must be changed into then. Okay, maintenance. Hope that you have understood clearly. My learners, I'm trying to make you understand about your rule number 11. Rule number 11. So, my dear learners, now take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, the main precondition of rule number 11 is that, my dear learners, if any direct narration has told, asked, ordered, requested, advised, commanded, inquired, forbade, prayed, wished, professed, 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 cried, cried, muttered, muttered, replied, replied, etc. as a reporting verb. There will be no any change of substance of reporting verb at the time of changing narration from direct to indirect, direct to indirect. Of that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, now take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, now try to memorize six kinds of reporting verb. Chart, asked, ordered, ordered, requested, requested, advised, advised, commanded, inquired, inquired, forbade, forbade, prayed, prayed, wished, wished, proposed, proposed, cried, cried, muttered, replied, replied. Abijah, you have understood clearly. Now, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you some examples with a reference of this rule. My dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Rohim asked Korean, comma, inverted comma, oil, are you going now? Okay, my dear learners, now let's take a look at the board and try to understand. First example is, my dear learners, Rohim asked Korean, comma, inverted comma, where are you going now? Where are you going now? Take a look at the board and try to understand. My dear learners, this designation of this phrase is, of course, interrogative sentence. Because, my dear learners, I told in my previous classes, if any repeated space is started with any WH word and finally ended with the notes of question mark, of course, and it's an interrogative sentence. And at the time of changing substance of interrogative sentence, narration from direct to indirect, you'll have to use asked instead of said to, instead of said to. But this sentence has already asked. So, my dear learners, try to follow the structures. My dear learners, try to solve this. Rohim asked Korean, The structures of changing narration of interrogative sentence was that, my dear learners, at first we'll have to use asked instead of such of reporting verb. They said there is no chance of reporting. Number two, Magellan's middle of the statement deleting comma inverted comma will have to use convention if or W is so Magellan's sorry this reputed space has already started with W is word, so in this sketch we had better use W substance of giving W is question or W is word where you have understood clearly. Now, my dear learners, let's try to change the subject you. Of course, you know that, my dear learners, you second person. And in our previous classes, we had shown, my dear learners, if subject or reporter space is second person, it's a must with chance according to object of reporting verb. So, my dear learners, you must be changed according to object coding. That means he, but within bracket capital letter K of which you have understood clearly. Then R must be changed into was, then extension going now must be changed into then. Of which you have understood clearly. Next example, Korean tried why are you disturbing me? Okay, middle learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. Middle learners, second example is that middle learners calling kite. Why are you disturbing me? Disturbing me. Middle learners, this sentence, of course, an interrogative sentence, and at the time of changing an interrogative sentence from direct to indirect, we should use asked instead of said to. But in this sentence, already kite. Is used to as a repeating verb. So at the time of changing narration, there is no any change of this repeating verb, right? So, my dear learners, try to solve yourself. Korean cried, deleting comma inverted comma. We'll have to use W is word why. Then subject you must be changed according to object, but there is no any object. So, my dear learners, you must be changed according to object me. So, my dear learners, I me must you must be changed into I. Verb R must be changed into was. Extension disturbing me must be changed according to subject of this statement. Check for him. That means him. Of that you have understood clearly. Next example, the learners rice first to Abdullah. Let us go to work now. Okay, Magellaners, hope that you have understood clearly. Magellaners, Raisha, Professor Abdullah Kumar invited one. Let us go out to work now. What category of sentence? Of course, it's an imperative sentence because a reported space of this direct narration is started later and according to the selection way of an imperative sentence. Of course, it's an imperative sentence and we should use proposed to instead of said to. But already in this sentence, proposed to is used as a reporting verb. So, my dear learners, at the time of changing narration, there is no any change of this reporting verb proposed to. So, my dear learners, try to solve yourself. Raisa prefers to Abdullah. Okay, my dear learners, the structures of changing narration of imperative sentence, especially starting with letters or letters, we know that, and it was the discussion matter of our previous classes, my dear learner, deleting comma, inverted comma, we will have to use that. Okay, then thirdly, we like to use we should or they should instead of letters. And you are told in my previous classes, my dear learners, if any reporting verb has any first person M between subject and object, then in this case we had better use we should. Others we will have to use they should. But my dear learners, in this sentence, that means in this reporting verb, there is no any first person as a subject or a object. So, my dear learners, in this case, we had better use so they should. Then verb go extension to work now must be changed into then. Okay, my dear learners, of that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, now I'm trying to show you example number 4. Purnima church me. Comma inverted comma man is mature. Okay, maybe let's take a look at the board and try to understand. Refuted space of this narration is started with subject and finally into the notes of full stop. Of course, it's an assertive sentence. And at the time of changing an assertive sentence of narration from direct to indirect, you are told that my dear learners will have to use said to or told, no problem. But already this reporting verb of this narration has used told as a reporting verb. So we should not change this reporting verb told. So my dear learners, of the two, you have understood clearly and try to solve yourself. Purnima shared me that is used comma inverted comma according to the rules of an assertive sentence of changing narration from direct to indirect. And your child in my previous classes, even a reported space indicates the sense of universal truth. There is no any change such kinds of reported space that means subject, object, and extension of this statement. So you have to use the reported space in unchangeable condition. Man is mature. That you have understood clearly. Now, my dear learners, I'm trying to show you example number 5. The teacher advised Rohim make the best use of time. Okay, Magellaners, that you have understood clearly. Magellaners, try to understand. So, what categories of sentences this? Magellaners, repeated space of this narration is started and a verb and finally ended with the notes of full stop and according to the selection way of an imperative sentence. It's of course an imperative sentence, which was the discussion matter of our previous classes. And at the time of changing any narration of an imperative sentence from direct to indirect, you are told that my dear learners will have to use child, advice, requested, forward, etc. But reporting verb of this narration has already has been used or is advised as a reporting verb. So there will be no any change of substance of the reporting verb advice. So, my dear learners, I hope that you have understood clearly and try to solve yourself. The teacher advised Rohim, and you told that my dear learners, comma, deleting comma, inverted comma, you will have to use true if any repeated space of a definition is started with any verb. So, my dear learners, of that you have understood clearly. Then a verb of repeated space make, then extension, the best use of trying finally ended with the notes of full stop. Hope that you have understood clearly. Now I'm trying to discuss about rule number 12. Rule number 12 of changing faces narration. The main precondition of rule number 12 is that, my dear learners, if any direct narration has more than one switch of a speaker, you will have to follow the note below. The note below. Hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, I know that you will know about various kinds of changing rules of narration and faces narration. Already, we have discussed various kinds of class about discussion of narration as well as faces narration. And with the reference of our previous classes, today's class have been present in front of you, my dear learners. There are five categories of sentence which have been transformed from direct to indirect narration, my dear learners. First sentence is that, my dear learners, uh, at the age of an assertive subjects. Okay, major learners. The case of an assertive sentence. Of course, you know that, my dear learners, at the time of changing narration from direct to indirect, at the case of an assertive sentence, you'll have to use said or told instead of said to, my dear learners, as a referring verb. But if any direct narration has more than one speech of a speaker, and then you'll have to follow the structures at the case of an assertive sentence. First stage, second stage, third stage. My dear learners, you'll have to mind that at the case of an assertive sentence, that first stage, instead of say, cho, set show. At the first stage, you'll have to use set at the place of set. You'll have to use set to oblique child. Okay, my childrens. At the case of second stage, especially changing rules of narration of an assertive sentence, you have to use added. J. Okay, middle learners instead of secho, but at the third stage you'll have to use further edit for the edit. Okay, middle learners, that you have understood clearly. Try to save and try to memorize instantly. Middle learners, at first stage you'll have to use secho instead of secho. At the second stage, you'll have to use added at the key at the place of sexual, and at the third stage, you'll have to use further edit. So you may save and you may memorize. There is three types of recording verb in this way: sexual, added, added, further added. Hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, number two, at the case of an interrogative sentence, interrogative sentence. Okay, my dear learners, at the case of an interrogative sentence, you'll have to use at first stage asked, asked. instead of settle. At the second stage, you'll have to use also asked. At the third stage, you will have to use again asked. Again asked. How about that you have understood clearly? Middle letters try to save in your memory and try to save in your memory and try to memorize instantly in this way. At the first stage, we'll have to use asked instead of sexual. At the key of an interrogative sentence, changing narration from direct to indirect. Secondly, we'll have to use also asked at the place of sexual. And thirdly, we'll have to use again asked. Again asked. So, media learners try to memorize instantly with me. Media learners asked, asked, also asked, also asked. Again asked. Again asked. How far that you have understood clearly. Middle learners, let's come to discuss about the third number sentence at the case of an imperative sentence. Imperative sentence. My dear learners, of course, you know that, my dear learners, at the time of changing an imperative sentence from direct to indirect, narration of an imperative sentence from direct to indirect, we'll have to use a child, 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 in at the place of sage, sage, show. But if an direct narration of an interactive sentence has more than one speech of a speaker, you'll have to use this note, middle learners. The first phrase, that means at first you'll have to use tall, T-O-L, tall. Second law, you'll have to use also child. And thirdly, you will have to use again child. Okay, middle learners. How about that you have understood clearly? Magellanus, at the case of changing narration of an imperative sentence, at first rise you'll have to use child in place of sexual. Secondly, you'll have to use also child at the place of sexual. And thirdly, you'll have to use again child at the place of sexual. How that you have understood clearly. And instantly try to memorize with me in this way. Child, also child, again child, child, also child, again child. Okay, maybe that's of the you have understood clearly. Now let's come to next point at the case of an objective sentence of train chief sentence. You know that, my dear learners, at the time of changing narration of an objective sentence from direct to indirect, you'll have to use phrase of said job at the place of said job. Phrase, but in this case, you'll have to use gradually phrase, also phrase, again, again, phrase. Okay, media learners, hope that you have understood clearly. So, media learners, try to memorize me in this way. Pride, also fried, again fried, again fried. Hope that you have understood clearly. Understood you clearly. Now, let's talk about number five, the case of an exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence. Exclamatory sentence. In this case, as like as formal rules, you have to use exclaimed, exclaimed. Secondly, also exclaimed. Thirdly, again exclaimed. Okay, my dear learners, hope that you have understood clearly. So, my dear learners, try to memorize with me in this way. There's exclaimed, exclaimed, also exclaimed, again exclaimed. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Let's go to give some example with the reference of this rule, my dear learners. Let's go give some examples. So, my dear learners, knowledge, take a look at the board and try to understand. Rohim Sideshow Korem. Watch are you doing now? What are you doing now? When will you go to school? Why didn't you go to school yesterday? Okay, my dear learners, hope that you have understood clearly. Take a look at the board and try to understand. Before changing narration from direct to indirect, I told that, my dear learners, at first you'll have to identify speaker or listener. Then you'll have to identify what categories of sentence, and then according to the structures of changing of narration, such kinds of statement, you'll have to change narration from direct to indirect, my dear learners. Take a look at the board and try to understand. Rohim said to Korem. Rohim said to Korem. In this, what are you doing now? What are you doing now? First sentence. When will you go to school? Second sentence, why didn't you go to school? Yes, sorry. Of course, you know that, my dear learners. In this narration, Rahim is the speaker and Korim is the listener. My dear learners, and three categories of sentence used in this sentence, of course, and interrogative sentence. Because think about first sentence. First sentence is started with WH word and ended with the notes of question mark. Second sentence started with WH word and ended with the notes of question mark. And third sentence started with WH word and finally ended with the notes of question mark. Of course, three categories of a sentence, of course, an interrogative sentence. And these three categories are the sentence are spoken by the same speaker. So, media learners, when you will short suspense of education, you will have to follow the structure. Media learners, at the first page, hence it's an interrogative sentence. So, you have to use asked first at the first page. Rohim asked Korean. Deleting comma inverted comma will have to use WH word. Hence, this sentence is started with WH word. Then subject, here subject you, and you must be changed according to object of this narration. Korean. He, within bracket, capital letter K. Verb are must be changed into was. Then extension join now turns into then. Okay, my dear learners, and after finishing the first sentence, you have to use and. Now think about second sentence. Think about second sentence. So, my dear learners, the first stage, at the key of an interrogative sentence, changing narration from direct to indirect, will have to use at first stage asked. The second stage will have to use also asked. Also asked. Okay, my dear learners. Then we'll have to use WH word on. Then subject you must be changed according to object code. That means he, capital letter K. Verb will must be changed into would. Next attention go to school. Okay. Second example must be finished. Of course, has been finished, and then we'll have to use and third sentence. At the case of third sentence, we'll have to use again asked. Again asked. Okay, my dear learners, then we'll have to use why subject you must be changed according to object of the reporting verb codem. That means he, capital letter K. Didn't must be changed into head on. Go must be changed into V3 form of verb gone. Show school. Yesterday must be changed into the J before. Of the two you have understood clearly. My children, let's come to say about example number two. Example number two. Purnima said to Raisha, I went to your house yesterday to meet you, but didn't find you. Where did you go? Yes, Charlie. Where did you go? Yes, Charlie. Okay, major notes. Comma, inverted comma is closed. Then another inverted commas. I went to the station to receive my uncle. Thank you. You are most welcome. Okay, my dear, let's take a look at the board and try to understand. At first, you'll have to read the first narration again and again carefully. My dear learners, the first narration is that my dear learners, Purnima said to Raisha. In this phases, of course, Purnima is the speaker and Raisha is the listener. At first, Purnima said to Raisha, comma inverted comma, I went to your house to meet you, but didn't find you. Full stop. First sentence. And second sentence, where did you go yesterday? Second sentence, my dear learners, reading this passage narration, we may be sure that, my dear learners, first sentence is I went to your house yesterday to meet you but did not find, and second sentence, where did you go yesterday, my dear learners. These two categories of sentence are told by Purnima. Then, in a reply, Raisha said that, my dear learners, I went to the station to receive my uncle. At the case of this sentence, third sentence, of course, the repeating verb is Raisha said to Purnima. And then Purnima said that, thank you. Purnima said, thank you. Of course, the repeating verb of this sentence, of course, Purnima said to Raisha. And at the case of sentence number 5, the repeating verb is Raisha said to Purnima. That you have understood clearly. And when you'll be sure about various kinds of sentence of a passage narration, you'll have to change step by step. At first, I'm trying to solve first sentence. My dear learners, take a look at the board and try to understand. For first sentence, my dear learners, of course, an assertive sentence, and we will have to follow the rules of structures of the narration of an assertive sentence. The structures of the narration of an assertive sentence is that, my dear learners, you are told there is no any chance of repeating verb. For say, cho, Raisha, middle of the statement, utility comma, inverted comma, will have to use that. Then subject, I must be changed according to subject of reporting verb Purnima. That means she, within bracket fee, capital letter. Point must be changed into H, gun, cho. Your must be changed into her, but capital letter R. That means Raisha, her house. Each starter must be changed into the J before to meet her within bracket, but didn't must be changed into hadn't. Find must be changed into found. You must be changed into her. That you have understood clearly. My dear learners, hence, two categories of sentence are spoken by phonemes. So, middle of the statement of two sentences you may use, and then try to apply the rules. My dear learners, think about second sentence. Second sentence is said by phonema is that, where did you go yesterday? Of course, an interrogative sentence. And in this case, you will have to use also asked instead of said so. Then deleting comma inverted comma, will have to use WH word where you must be changed into she within bracket capital letter, or did must be changed into had, go must be changed into gone, yesterday must be changed into the j before before full stop. Hope that you have understood clearly, my dear learners. Now try to change into third sentence. Third sentence is, my dear learners, I went to the station to receive my uncle. This statement is said by Raisha when Purnima asked Raisha. In reply, Raisha said to Purnima that she went to station to receive her uncle. So you will have to use the reporting as the reporting verb. Raisha said to Purnima. Raisha, we had better use replied at the phrase of Secho when a speaker asked to the listener. Okay, my dear learners, so that you have understood clearly. Replied, middle of the statement will have to use that I must be changed into she, that within brackets are went had gone to the station to receive her uncle. Okay, my dear learners, hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, now think about sentence number 4. Thank you. This sentence is said by Purnima Choraisha. So, you had better write that, my dear learners. Purnima, Purnima, thanks, Raisha. Okay, my dear learners, now think about example number, sentence number 5. You are most welcome. This sentence is spoken by Raisha. So you had better write Raisha said that you must be changed into she, but within bracket, capital letter, fe. R must be changed into was, most welcome. Okay, my dear learners, that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, with these 12 categories of role, I'm trying to finish the rules of sending narration and passive narration. So, my dear learners, I hope that you have understood clearly. My dear learners, I don't want to learn into this class, but I want to share some information with you, my dear learners. Already, we have finished various kinds of roles of changing narration and passive narration, and from tomorrow, that means from next, or inshallah, we are trying to solve various kinds of book questions from tomorrow. So, my dear learners, be connected with me and try to follow me, my dear learners. I don't want to learn into this class, but my dear learners, I want to share some information with you, my dear learners. Of course, you know that I'm a new teacher or new tutor in YouTube channel, though I'm Bangladeshi by birth, but I'm trying to use English conversation at the time of making a various kinds of video classes. So, my dear learners, if you notice any faults or mistakes in the midst of my video class, please excuse me and pray to all my children so that I can help you, I can serve you, I can comfort you. In this way through my video classes. So, my dear learners, no more today. Come to see you again with a new admin, a new class. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.